500 presented by Pengrade Motor Oil. Obviously a very, very busy month, and although this Indianapolis 500, if you ask any driver which would this be more special, they'll say just to win at this great racing facility is an honor and a privilege and certainly a lifelong dream. But historically, the footnote for the 100th running will be very, very important. We have a bunch of distinguished guests we will introduce you to in just a moment. But before we get started, I'd like to start by introducing you to Steve Moore, General Manager of KV Racing Technology. Steve, good morning.
Good afternoon, everybody. Very happy to announce KV Racing Technology is going to have Stefan Wilson as our third entry for the Indianapolis 500. Obviously, this year is an extremely exciting event with the 100th running of the event. And having Stefan join the program, we're very excited. His partners that have joined him as sponsors, it's a very special, a very exciting group, a very good cause. It's something that the whole KV Racing Technology team is very excited to be a part of. We're very excited to be working with Stefan, and we welcome him to the KV Racing Technology family for the month of May.
Thanks, Steve. Wow, it's what an emotional day to be here and to be able to announce that I have an entry for the 2016 100th running of the Indy 500. It's pretty special, and I'm really grateful to KV Racing Technologies, Jimmy Vassar, Kevin, and also Steve for having me on their team. Also here to announce a very special partnership, and that's a partnership with the Indiana Donor Network and a cause, Racing to Save Lives. As you may know, we lost Justin last August, and in the following days, it was quite easy to dwell on the negatives of that. And what Justin was really good at, what his, other than being a special race car driver and an amazing father, an amazing brother, an amazing son, he was also just really good at being able to find positives in even the most negative situations. And what he was able to do by simply making a decision to be an organ donor was, looking back on that, you know, the one shining moment that came from all of that tragedy was the fact that 5 people on this earth are still here because of what Justin decided to do. So what we're announcing here today, the partnership, is carrying on that legacy and really trying to increase organ donation registration and hopefully in the future save further lives. Really excited to get to work and to work with my teammates and my engineers, and up to this point the focus has been on just getting a deal with a team and getting on board with a team, and a lot of work and a lot of focus has gone into that, and now it's the shift of focus is now on qualifying and getting our car as competitive as possible, and really the hard work starts now, and you know, just really excited to get on board with the team and spend some time with them and working with Sebastian and also Matt. As you might imagine, racing in the Indy 500 is pretty special any year, and it doesn't matter if it's the 99th, the 100th, or the 101st. So, but there is, you know, it's the 100th running of the Indy 500. You can feel the buzz in the city. I obviously live here in town, call myself a Hoosier, so really feel the atmosphere is building, and the stage is can't remember it being as big as this in previous years. So really excited that it's the 100th running of the Indy 500. I was always proud of Justin as his little brother. I was 11 years younger than him. So I grew up as being his pesky little brother, his annoying little brother. So, you know, always went to the go-kart track when he was in senior karts and got to spend some time at the other racetracks as he was going through the formulas, and always looked up to him and so proud of him. And it was a dream of mine to race here and join him on the grid here. Obviously, that dream's not going to be quite that way, and you know, I always envisioned him being here, and it never really envisioned a situation where he wouldn't. But I know he's going to be looking down, and for me, I just want to make him proud, make him as proud as I was of him. And without further ado, I want to hand over to Steve Johnson here from the Indiana Donor Network to talk a little bit more about that cause.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve and Stefan. Well, first of all, second we met Stefan and his passion for not only his brother's legacy, but donation and telling the story, we were just captivated. You know, and I think we're very privileged for being here. And on top of that, I'm going rogue, so I'm going to get off my page here in front of me for a second, but I was walking in today, and you know, I haven't been here for very long, and I walked in and I just got chills when I walked in here. And then I was trying to think, what is it that's absolutely incredible, and what's the ingredients that cause that every time you're around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and thinking about the Indy 500. And then as I'm standing here, I see him walk in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, the story of his brother and how passionate he is about that legacy. And those are the kinds of things that, I mean, those are what give you the chills, and that's the kind of legacy that this place was built about. And I think, you know, it's really incredible, and you know, we're privileged to, you know, get to be a part of that. And, you know, every day at Indiana Donor Network, you know, our mission is to save and enhance lives through organ and tissue donation. And I mean, I get the same feeling getting to do that. The stories of the people and the legacy that's passed on by this, you know, very selfless gift is absolutely incredible. So with that, what I'd like to get back to my piece of paper here is, you know, we've started a campaign about how you can register your decision to become a donor. You can go to www.driventosavelives.org. You can also follow the campaign leading up to the race through Driven to Save Lives, or hashtag Driven to Save Lives, sorry. And I think that's going to be very special. We have a goal of registering over another 2,500 people associated with our cause in the number 25 car. And I think that's a really neat statement and a great legacy to pass on with both Justin and Stefan in mind. So. I want to thank Stefan and KV Racing Technology, IndyCar, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Obviously, the 100th running of the Indy 500 is something special, and I couldn't think of anything better to associate it with than this cause. And you know, I'd like to challenge everybody in this room and anyone listening to, you know, look on your driver's license and make sure that you have that heart on your driver's license. What a great example that's been set for us by both number 25s. And moving on, I will pass that along because there's nobody better to talk about that than Dr. Tim Tabor. He's our medical director at the Indiana Donor Network. He's also a transplant nephrologist at Indiana University Health, and just a pretty amazing physician. So, Dr. Tabor. No.
It's always tough to be the last speaker because everything's been said. But I think the most important thing I can talk about are numbers, and that's there's 120,000 people on the list in this country for an organ transplant. For every donor, we can get up to 8 people transplanted, and that's over 50 life years that can be saved. And just the time that we've started, there's been at least one person added to the list. Every 10 minutes or so, someone's added to the list, 6 people in an hour. 22 people will die on the list today, people that could have been transplanted. If you talk to people, 90% of people say they believe in organ transplantation and donation, but yet only 50% of people have actually signed up to be organ donors. So we do this today to raise organ donor awareness and hope to prompt people to think about signing their license or going online and registering to be an organ donor so that we can shrink that list from 120,000 to 0. Mr. Young?
Thank you, Doctor. Question for you, Stefan, and how this whole process came about. Obviously, a lot goes on when you try to get involved with any type of race team, with sponsorships, things of that nature. Obviously, with the loss of your brother, this one made sense, but how many cogs in the wheel actually had to turn before this all got together for this announcement today?
A lot. You know, I think it's great to have Indiana Donor Network as a supporter, and you know that really all came about following the accident in Pocono, as I said, that was one of the shining lights, and so many people reached out and told me about their story, their encounter with organ donation, whether they had a son or a family member that received a gift of life, or they lost someone also, went through something very similar, and they had someone that was an organ donor in their family. So it was nice to receive those messages, and it really showed me the impact of what Justin did. And actually, so many people reached out and said, hey, I became an organ donor because of this. And that was, again, that just adds to his legacy, the potential of saving further lives in the future. But yeah, just going back to your initial question, a lot of cogs had to fit in place, and a lot of stress, a lot of sleepless nights, but we got it there in the end. I mean, Indiana Donor Network support makes this possible, and also another huge cog in there is GapGuard. It's a company owned by Dale Pelfrey, and the last couple of years I've actually helped with his team, and having his support is a huge endorsement, because I know he's supported some great drivers here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the past. So thrilled to have him on board, and really he was sort of one of the final cogs that allowed this to all take place. So I owe a big thank you to him.
Steve, for your team, KV Racing Technology, currently running one car in the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series campaign, taking on now 2 additional cars for the Indianapolis 500. The additional resources, how far does this team have to reach to be able to run 3 cars for the month of May?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, anytime we add an extra car, obviously it stretches our resources, or any team's resources. Obviously this year, KV Racing downsized from a 2-car team to a 1-car team. So a lot of the in-house resources we still retained from last year. So, we have the resources in place, but also heading to the Indianapolis 500 this year, we always planned on running 3 entries. So for the last 12 months, we've got a lot of plans in place, a lot of resources already in place, which helps, obviously. And even though this deal is put together what would seem very late, a lot of our resources, the team infrastructure is already in place, and we know that we can put a program together to support Stefan that's 100% capable of winning the race.
And Steve, for you, for the Indiana Donor Network, the platform of this 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, has the network ever been on a stage as big as Indianapolis Motor Speedway to be able to promote organ donation?
No. But the one thing that Indiana Donor Network can bring to the table, I think, is also we've got a team of a lot of other organ procurement organizations all over the United States who have the same identical mission that we have to save lives. Many of them will be listening right now and getting ready to gear up and help promote Stefan and the message that we're trying to put out there. So we're a small army, but together we've got a pretty big force. So I think we'll be ready to do this.
Open the floor for any questions from any of the media members. We will also have time for one-on-ones when we're finished, but if you have a question now, please feel free. Well, again, we thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Looking forward to not only the remainder of this press conference. We'll have an opportunity with the media members to ask more one-on-one questions, but Stefan, most importantly, seeing you out on that track coming the month of May. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
On behalf of Dr. Tim Tabor, transplant nephrologist at the Indiana University Health Indiana Donor Network, Steve Johnson, COO of the Indiana Donor Network, Steve Moore, obviously General Manager of KV Racing Technology, and now proud to announce the driver of the number 25, driven to save lives, KV Racing Technology Chevrolet, Stefan Wilson. We thank you for coming out today. Don't forget to go online and check out Driven to Save Lives, driven, the number 2, savelives.org. We will now open the floor for one-on-ones. And again, thank you, media members, for coming out and joining us today. Good luck, Stefan. Thank you, guys.